She's a superwoman. Every little thing I owe it to you. Superwoman. My mama, I love you, mama. She's a superwoman. Uliche Nanfuka kubanga. Superwoman. Listen the production.
They say they pulled us out of the kitchens and pushed us into public offices of power. They ignore that we came with the whole kitchen: cooking pots, saucepans, charcoal stoves, gas cookers, microwave ovens, teaspoons, pestles in mortars, wooden mingling sticks, blenders, chapati rolling pins, the whole works. We brought the whole kitchen into the public offices.
Much as we are different in our thinking, much as we are different in age, our tribes may vary, our religious affiliation may vary, but at the end of it all, we have the women agenda.
We need to move beyond just our women's agenda.
So for me, the conversation is, how do we move beyond that plateau of women's rights by expanding the rooms that currently do exist to recognize all diversities of women? How do we stop censoring women's rights conversations so that they are free?
We need to ensure that the women are running for the values of what really is good for women in Uganda, and therefore eventually also for the society.
The women agenda is all about reflecting on what were the reasons why women came up, reflecting on where we are, but looking forward on how best should we empower that woman, on how best should we improve the livelihood of a woman to move on.
We will see that in the end, the struggle for women's rights won't benefit women. It will benefit humans as a species, because women's rights are human rights.
Some of us will never smash our grandmother's shallow ceilings of domesticity. Some of us still juggle both our kitchens and public offices. Some of us are perpetually scorned for our gratitude to be away from kitchen smells. The village shouts, "A good woman's place is in the kitchen."
I encourage women not to fear that they are the weaker sex. No, they are not. They're actually the stronger sex. If you can run a family, bear children, and then do a full-time job where you're competing with men, but manage to be promoted, that means you're a superpower.
The world is doing like this, especially Uganda is up and down, because it was created to soar with both wings, the male wing and the female wing. For selfish reasons and greed, the women's wing was clipped. So the world is just going on one wing.
Right now, so much about access is limited for women in their diversity, because even as we are allowed to dream, our dreams can only be dreams that are not scary for patriarchy. They can't be too controversial, because if they are too rude, they are too daring, they are unwomanly.
Our politics is largely filled with men. We have a scarcity of women leaders. The women leaders who have decided to come out and take part in leadership need to be encouraged.
They say they took us out of the backyard and printed our photographs with our names onto ballot papers. They pretend not to see the exclusionary costs of running for elective office.
You know, women have a problem of income. Socially, economically, culturally, women do not own so much property, so they have to have finances to run these campaigns. You know, our campaigns in Uganda have been largely commercialized. So most of the women do not have even the property. They do not own the property to maybe take to the bank and get loans to run their campaigns, but the men do. So there's still a long way for this country to go to be able to have an equal platform for both women and men to compete for these positions.
Issues of women do not discriminate. It's not all about the red we put on or the yellow she puts on, but it's all about how the woman is catered for.
If those rooms for women's rights only stop being for women who speak a certain kind of language and work a certain kind of way, and doesn't include women that work certain kind of jobs like sex workers, or who express themselves a certain kind of way, like me being a trans person, or it doesn't recognize intersex people that don't understand that binary or even a gendered conversation, then we are not going to move beyond that plateau.
Women in leadership in the political terrain of Uganda 2021, to election and post-election, the risk, the security and insecurity, the threats are very real. You are either to be bought, you're intimidated, you are abducted, and it goes up to the families and the children. What should we do as women 2021? We stay resilient.
Women are a mighty force in Uganda's liberation struggle. Of course, as grandmothers, mothers, aunts, wives, daughters, nieces and granddaughters, we selflessly support our men freedom fighters with hot meals, warm baths and tight hugs. No matter what highs or lows they suffer in public under the brutal octogenarian dictator.
I myself, I was arrested on one of the campaign trails with the president. As a woman, I was arrested by military men, over 50 of them, wielding sticks and AK-47 guns, dressed in military fatigue. And then we were thrown on the back of a pickup and drove at high speed to a police cell and imprisoned with men. I was the only woman in that cell. This is Women's Day talk, okay? And grounding it in the realities of women in political participation.
It was a group of men mishandling me. It was not only one man. And the women were powerless. They didn't even know what to do. They didn't know that they are supposed to be the ones handling me. That means there is a gap. Professionally, they lack something. Our army, our police, our security agencies have a lot of work to do.
If I did not have that massive global, regional, national network, I would probably not be talking today. I would have disappeared.
Omusirikale wakukwata okukuba ng'akuba musajja. Abakyala tetukyalina bitiibwa mu Uganda ng'abannakazadde b'eggwanga. Tukubwa ne tuyambulibwa engoye mu bantu, batuuka okuteeka mu kkomera n'abasajja oyagala okweyambula, kati nga e Masaka abaana we twali mu kkomera nga bambula abaana abawala n'abaana abalenzi, mwenna muli wamu, buli omu alaba obwerere bwa munne, kwegamba kikozeseddwa ddala ekintu ekimalidde ddala ekitiibwa mu bakyala. Kyekintu ekituleetedde ddala okwekyawa n'okwagala ennyo senga kisoboka gavumenti eno ekyuke, tufune gavumenti eya Kyagulanyi egenda okuba nga ejja tegeera omuntu wa wansi n'okutega Kyagulanyi nga wawa mukyala w'ekitiibwa. Ekyo ekintu tukirabira ddala nti wanaaba afuuse pulezidenti naffe abakyala ajja kulagira abali baawo bonna okuba nga abakyala baddizibwa ebitiibwa byabwe. N'essaawa zino abakyala tetuyina ddala katiibwa yadde kubanga tuswazibwa buli lunaku.
Women suffer things you don't see. I can give you an example of where we got a chance to see women being undressed by the police. The police is beating them and they're undressing them. These are men beating them, undressing them in public. We have seen where the police manhandles the woman and holds their breasts. It is worse than we see.
You are looking at a crying Uganda because the fruit of the womb of that woman has been put to torture. And it has not stopped at that. It has also, even the woman herself, has also been put to torture. And now this is a crying Uganda, and this is the kind of Uganda we are having.
Nze mama wange yakeera enkya nanzaala ng'akimanyi nti kubanga siri mukatuliki ndi mukyala musiraamu, of course ng'asuubira nti ndimuwa omuzzukulu. Eno gavumenti yaffe eya Uganda bwe twali mu Arua baatukuba to the extent zina baana baamugyamu, so mwene ensi mwe tuli sirizaala, emirembe n'emirembe mmye, era kyeka n'omutima gw'abaana gwagenda gunvaamu, mutima gwange gwafuuka muzibu nnyo nnyo nnyo. Nafuna obukambwe kuva lwe nali agakali ne baŋŋamba nti n'abaana bagenda mujjamu olw'ensonga bweti ne bweti ne bweti, ne mpulira nga kyankosa. Abo abasajja bo bennyini bakwata amagalo ne basala ennywanto yange ey'ebbeeri.
So for the women out there, the political terrain is more of a battlefield. Right now, the calls I get, I am hiding, you know? I am hiding because the military are looking for me as I talk. And it affects the women more. Many of those who are left young widows.
We have women who have not seen their husbands who have been in prison for so long. Some do not even know where their husbands are. Some have had their husbands murdered. So my strength comes from the fact that it is many of us giving away our precious husbands to go to the front line and fight for the general cause of everybody else of this country. That's one of the major sources of my strength, the other women.
When you see them smartly dressed in branded red berets and red overalls, power fists raised in resistance against bad governance, corruption, and lawlessness, remember who cleans their tear gas-covered laundry. When you see them casually dressed in branded blue t-shirts and pants, two-finger salutes defiantly waving at dictatorship, police brutality, and militarization of society, remember who washes their bloodied clothes.
So for us women, these are indicators. It is time for us to be at the center of this advocacy, of this leadership, of this, so that we sanitize Uganda.
For me, so long as political office is occupied by women as women portfolios, it means there are some things that are women and that should be handled by women, and doesn't allow those political officers to really be everything. I look for a time when you can have a president who is a woman, or when women occupy political offices as humans, because women's issues are human issues.
Women are a mighty force in Uganda's liberation struggle. Of course, as thinkers, philosophers, theorists, ideologues, scholars, researchers, and intellectuals, we innovatively conceptualize methods of non-violent protest against a violent military system. Pushing our creativity to the limits, we design fresh forms of subverting our brutish oppressors. As strategists, tacticians, liberation leaders, freedom fighters, and frontline commandos, we are the women populating the liberation struggle. We are the women on the frontiers of the politics of Uganda.
It's challenging, but nothing which begins stays forever. It doesn't last forever. And we must choose to be peaceful. We must choose to be non-violent. We must choose also to be the examples ourselves. And as women, we have that socialization of nurturing, of life-giving, of, life, protecting life. So it should not only be at the global level advocacy, but also at the local level, our participation at the local level. Yes. So I'm calling on all the sisters, raise your voice, take action.
My message to the women and girls of Uganda, of Africa, and the world, you're just as good as men and boys. And your place in the world, your place in Uganda, your place in Africa is not just going to be given to you. You must take it. So as a woman, as a girl child, stand firm, have confidence, well knowing that you are just as good as the men and the boys. As for me, I can only salute women, and every opportunity that I am given now and in the future, I continue to use it, and I will use it for the betterment and for the confidence building of women. Here is one of my favorite songs that I sang for my mother. It goes, my mama used to be a street side vendor, but one thing she taught me is never to surrender. How she made it, everybody wonder. She played the role of father and mother. Anyway, she never sell out, she dignity, my mother. Eyanjigiriza katonda, my mother. Everything I am is from my mother, cause she's a superwoman. Everything I am, I owe it to you, my superwoman. My mama, salutation, mama. Yeah, bless.
She's a superwoman. Every little thing I owe it to you. Superwoman. My mama, I love you, mama. She's a superwoman. Uliche nafuka kubanga. action.